No.
All right. So what I'm going to walk you guys through is how to do note cards and source cards. You've been given a source card. A source card is a 3x5 card. And a note card, which you were told to bring, is on a 4x6 card. So because I didn't have any 4x6 cards, I just took a piece of, I took a 4x6 card from a student from last year, and I put it over some paper and I just cut it because that works. But I'm very set on the 3x5 and the 4x6 cards needing to be used. These are examples of past source cards, which are the 3x5 cards, and then note cards are 4x6 cards. So for an example, well, actually, let me start here. So on your source card, I need to format my source, the works cited documentation of my source. So come up here. We learned how to do MLA citation by going to Purdue University. So I put an OWL right here and I hit enter, and the very first thing that I have is Purdue OWL. Not the birds. Birds are secondary in importance to Purdue University's online writing lab. So I'm going to click here, and I have the MLA guide here, or I could just click MLA, and then I'm sent to their formatting page. What I put down on the card is dependent on the kind of source that I have. We're looking at literature, and literature is usually just a basic citation. So this is the works cited page, basic format. Let me see what we have here. These are our basic rules for the paper. I don't need that quite yet. But here we go with the information. So if we have, no, I don't want that, sorry. I'm going to go works cited page, books. In text, no, works cited page, books. So the book format, we have last name, then first name, then the title of the book, then the publisher, then the publication date. This is for a basic book format. If we have more than one author, we can find that. A book with no author, we're not interested in that. That would be like an encyclopedia, which we're not looking at because we're only looking at literature. So sometimes we can have a short story that is in a work of an anthology, a reference, or a collection. So we have last name, then first name, then the title of the essay, the title of the collection, and the editor, the publisher, the year. This is for a poem or a short story. And so lots of you are going to be looking at poems or short stories. I took out the medium. Oh, they took out, I am confused because they changed it. Highlights, essentially writer will be able to, commas are used instead of periods between publisher publication date. The medium is no longer necessary. So this is an example of why I use Purdue OWL, because Purdue OWL stays up to date. So the medium is no longer necessary. It used to be, the medium used to be something like print or something like web or something like MP3. So this is no longer necessary. So I just learned something today. Containers are now a part of the MLA process in light of technology. Periods should be used between containers. DOIs should be used instead of URLs when available. Use the phrase accessed on instead of listing the date or the abbreviation ND. Below is the general format for any citation: author, title, title of container, self-contained if book. What does this mean? Translators or editors, second container's title. All right, So the title of the container would be like if it's a book, or if it's an article, it would be the title of the article. Then your publication date, and then the second. Okay, let me go down. I'm learning as we're going here. So title of the essay, title of the collection, edited by, that's for a reference work. Poem or short stories, very good. No URL. I'm requiring the URL. So I want to know where you got this. So right here, they don't have you as having to list the URL, but I am still requiring the URL. So we've got our author, we have the title of the poem or short story, we have the source that it came from, we have the editor, we have the year that it was published, this is the publisher, and this is the page that it is on. These are for print sources. I'm going to go up and I want to go to electronic sources. MLA Works Cited for electronic sources. So if page number is not available, use paragraph or paragraphs to denote paragraph numbers. And we use the access on. So this is the basic style. And I want to scroll down. Most of you are going to be using either an online short story or an online poem. This is a scholarly journal, web magazine, an image, a page on a site. There we go, Athlete's Foot. Course or department websites. Okay, so we're going to use this one right here. Okay, the best way for me to do this is I'm going to have actually two different windows open when I'm doing this. And I'm going to have this window open and, shucks, okay. So I've got my two windows that are opened. One is going to help me know how to format my source, and the other one is going to actually give me my source. So I'm going to just look up Puritan. Oh, I'm going to go to Wikipedia. Wiki. Okay. And now I'm going to search for Puritan literature. And you're going to put in whatever your literature is, okay? I'm just really just trying to get to a source that you might be able to use. Puritan literature does not exist. New England Puritan culture and recreation. That's what I want. And this tells me the aspects of it. So Puritans were slightly less known for the poetry. This man wrote his own poetry for his weekly sermons. Let me go to him, and then I just want maybe one of his poems. Maybe I can find one of his poems. Edward Taylor. I'm going to just Google him then. Edward Taylor, poetry. And poems of Edward Taylor. And he is indeed, this is the time period. So this is a site of his poems. Our thesis statement talked about how they were, that one of the characteristics of Puritan literature was their being so religious. So obviously this is a poem that would relate to that. I can go back if I don't like this poem. Let's do this one. All right. So now it comes to, I have my source. This is my source. I've come to class with this as a source. I've printed it up, and this is my source, all right? On my note card, this is my note card. I need a couple of things. I have a top line on my note card. I should draw that by ruler. I want my source number. So this is the note card, and this is the source card. This is source number 1. On my page on the website, I need my author's name, and it's going to go last name, then the first name. So Taylor, comma, Edward, period. Okay. Then I have How to Make Vegetarian Chili. So that's the title of the article itself. So this is the title of the poem, I Am the Living Bread. And that is going to go in quotation marks. I am the... so you see this right here? This is called a hanging indent. So this is a regular indent, and if it was in a regular indent, it would go over here. This is what we call a hanging indent. I want to make sure that I have that on my card. So I am the, I can go all the way over, living, oops, capitalize, bread, period, end quotation mark. All right? So notice how I have the hanging indent. This is my first source, so I've put number 1 right here. And then after that, I have my, where did I get this from? This was from E. Howe, right here. So this is from Fire and Ice, Puritan and Reformed Writings. So that's going to go in italics. Let me see, this is in italics. Well, when I'm handwriting something, I can't write in italics, so I have to underline it. So Fire and Ice, colon, Puritan, and Reformed. Notice how I've kept my hanging indent, writings. I can't italicize my handwriting, so I'm going to underline when I'm handwriting it. If I go to type this source, if I use this source for my paper, that tells me I will italicize it when I type it. And I put a, oh, no, I don't put a period. I put a comma. A comma. I need a date of publication. So my date of publication, this one gives me a date of publication. On this source, we don't have this as a date of publication, but if we have a date of publication, we need to put that first. So I go to my page here. Shucks. I don't have a date of publication, do I? I am the living bread. Let me see if I can go back to my index. Do we have? No dates. Poems. Oh, these poems are taken from, no, this is 1989. That's not when it was written. So, no date. When we don't have a date, they just didn't put a date. Generally, you would put ND, but I think I read that in this new version, you don't have to put ND. So I will clarify for you in class. I'm not sure, I don't remember where I saw that, but, oh. Yeah, I don't see it, so we're not gonna put a date. I am the living bread. So no date on this. Let me go back down to my, and now I have my URL. So this is the URL right here. And that's a comma. Wow, this is very, very different from last year. www.puritansermons, I probably should have done that all on one line, .com/poetry, or is that /? I don't know, /Taylor 1 And access July 6th, access, so we write access November 22. Ugh, I should have put it the other way around. That goes there. We use the British format. 22 November 2016, period. And that is how I do a source card, okay? So that's the source. Anything that comes from this is going to get a 1 up here because it matches that source. So I don't have to write this information again on my note card. I just put the 1 and it's going to match. All of my notes that come from here match it. So let's see. Goodness gracious. Why did I choose this? What in the world is he saying? What did God mold up this bread in heaven and bake, which from his table came, and to shine goeth? Doth he bespeak thee thus? The soul bread take. Come eat thy fill of this, thy God's white loaf. Okay, whatever. We're going to, at the top, we're going to put the topic of, or let me change that, summary word of card. Okay, so that's going to be at the top. I'm going to cross it out. Let's see. Let's do this a little neater. So we've got our top our line on our card. Because I made my own cards, I'm doing this. All right, so 1 goes at the top. And the summary of this, I'm going to say bread in heaven. And it's going to just tell me what's on this card. And then I'm going to write the actual words from my text. So I'll write everything word for word. Did God mold up this bread in heaven and bake? And I'm going to do it exact, oops, not capitalized, comma. I'm writing it exactly. So bread is capitalized, bread is capitalized. Heaven is capitalized, heaven is capitalized, right? Can't read my writing. All of this is going to go on the card. All of it, word for word on the card. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you some sample cards from students of last year. And when you have a due date, you're going to have 10 of those that are due. So here are some sample cards from students from last year. This is a print source. I know that it's print. This was the medium. You used to have to put that. You don't have to put that anymore. But if you have a print source that's from a book, and I can tell this is from a book because of the way that this is punctuated, you need your city and state of publication. So she didn't do that, and that's the reason why I wrote that down. But this is my author, and this is the year that it was printed, and this is the name of the book, okay? So all of the notes that came from this are going to get what number, you guys? Number 6 right there, because this is her 6th note card. So when we go back here, these are her note cards from this. All right, so what she didn't do is she didn't put that little summary word or words up at the top. Because she didn't do that, she lost a point. But she wrote word for word. Sadly, the signals that allow men and women to find partners who most, so on and so forth, from the beauty myth. And she was talking about standards of beauty in the United States. She missed that, so she missed a point. This is worth 3 points. But if you miss the summary word up here, notice it's not the topic of your paper, so it wouldn't be like Gothic literature. It would be about what the content of the card is. So men are visually aroused by women's bodies and less sensitive to their arousal by women's personalities because they are trained early. The response, women are less visually aroused. So women care about substance in a man. That's what should be up there because that's the summary of what's on this card. And then this one, what becomes of a man who acquires a beautiful woman with her beauty, his sole target, he sabotages himself. Results of men who only want beauty. Okay, so that would go at the top of the card. And the reason that that helps is once you have all of your note cards, so like, well, y'all have like 40 of these at the end, right? You've got all of these cards, and when you're all done, you can find the card that has the quote that you want. You all have written it down, you'll know where it is, and it'll help you find it from there, okay? So all of the cards have to be filled up completely in order to get full credit. There are 3 things I'm looking for: a filled up card, the source at the top, and the topic of what's on the card at the top, okay? So she did it right here. This is social rights of female writers. This is source 6. She has her card filled completely. So I look at this one right here. This is from the first paper. A Union letter. This came from the Civil War Archive. The Civil War Archive is online here. It was published in October of 1862. The author, so she did this wrong. The author was David Dunbar. That should have been before this. So she just copied word for word from the letter. I have just seen Captain Cowgill and learned where I could reach you by a letter. I was much pleased to hear your captain speak so favorable of you as a brave soldier. Indeed, he speaks in the highest terms of you. So that is that. What she did wrong here was she wrote down, she was counting her sources. This was 21 for cards, 23, 22. I only need, this is just going to match up with this card. 6 and 6 would be here. So everything that comes from this, from the Union letter is going to get 6, the number 6 at the top. When I look at this person's cards, 6 is apparently very common. So these all come from their source number 2, family issues, treatments for depression, source number 2, suicide, this is for the second paper, so these are just left over, I'm just using them as samples. That's from source number 2. But notice how they're filling the card completely, a word summary at the top, matches with their source. Let's see, do I have her source cards? No, I don't have her source cards. Oh, I bet this is it right here. This is her source card. So I can tell source card number 2, and it goes with all these number 2s, but she would have a different source card, a different one of these to match with number 1, or to match with number 3 right here, or number 4 right here. So that is how those get formatted. Do you have any questions? You? No? Do you think I answered everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you have questions, then I can answer them right now and it would be covered.
No.
Okay. All right. And that's how you do it.